Hi everyone and welcome back. Today's video is the first video that I filmed after my operation last week, and it's going to be my 1 week update, but I'm also going to go into some information about what the operation was like, what happened in some detail, because I've said it before, when I was searching for videos out there for more information on the operation that I had, which was obviously the gastric sleeve, there wasn't much out there like step by step, and I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. So if behind me you can see any mess, I think I'm concealing it quite well. You can see, I don't know, I think I might be hiding it. But I've just done my makeup for the first time in like a week, and I took my time. I've painted my nails today even though they've already smudged. I've just corkscrewed my hair just as something different and tied it back because these bits were all weird. And I feel a little bit human. So I'll go into more detail about that and how I've been feeling in a minute, but I've really enjoyed today doing a face mask and spending time doing my makeup. Tom and my mum's fiance are downstairs. They've been doing jobs in the house all day trying to get it as best as it can be for Christmas, like painting and plastering and stuff like that. The dogs are outside barking, so this is a very laid back casual video. It might be a long one, so grab a brew. And I've said it before that my channel now is not going to be a weight loss channel, it's not going to be a diet channel or anything, like it's not going to be gastric sleeve thrown at you every single video. But obviously at the moment this is a big thing that I'm going through, and a lot of you have had lots of questions and want to know more about it. So obviously you don't have to sit and watch this if you're not interested at all, but if you are, then I'm making it for you guys. And I've got, like, this is going to be so far and few between on this channel. It's still going to be makeup and beauty and everything, but obviously at the moment this is what's going on. So today has been 1 week since I had my operation. I'm currently filming this about 7 p.m. So I would have, yeah, it's been after a week because I had my operation on 1 p.m. on Wednesday the 14th of December. I had to follow a pre-op diet, which I touched on in my video where I told you I was getting the surgery, and I was fine on that, to be honest. Some people it's just shakes and they don't allow you to eat any food apart from veg, but the health centre that I used, the company that I went with, they allowed me to eat, it was basically low carbs, high protein, and then your vegetables. So I was having like Weetabix for breakfast, not snacking in between meals. I was having maybe a banana and a kiwi a day, and then for lunch I'd have chicken and veg, and then for tea I'd have chicken, veg and half a jacket potato. So it was just a very controlled diet, and I lost 5 pounds on that on the 10 days that I was on that diet. So on the Wednesday when I went for my operation, Tom took me. I had to be there at 7:30, and I was waiting until 12:30 before I got taken to my room. So Tom had to leave me in the morning, which was very emotional. He actually had to leave me while I was getting my bloods done, and I just wasn't prepared, and I knew he had to go, but I thought I'd already be in by that time because they told me that my operation was going to be at 9 a.m. They didn't have any beds, so at 12:30 they took me to my room, gave me a gown and stockings, which are to prevent blood clots in your legs. They were very, very, very attractive. And the gown is one of those that opens all the way down the back. I looked hideous. Like, if there's an image of yourself that you need before you're going to have weight loss surgery, that is what it is. If you need like the extra bit of inspiration, because holy Moses did I look gross. And then I had some blood tests taken in the morning, just like one final one to make sure everything was okay, and then a few last checks. And then one of the guys from the theatre came down to get me. I think he was one of the anaesthetist assistants, and he was so lovely. He asked me a few more questions and asked me to sign a form. I felt like I was signing my life away. And then he walked me up to theatre, which I don't know why I didn't think about this, but there wasn't like a back corridor to walk through. I walked through the public hospital up to the theatre in the lift, round corners, down corridors, with the general public as well as other patients and nurses and doctors. I must have passed 100 people on the way up to theatre looking like I did. And on my way there, the guy was like, "Do you feel okay? Are you happy about how everything's going? You look a little bit nervous." And I was like, no, I'm just thinking to myself that I'm so glad I didn't forget my dressing gown, because that would have been another level of embarrassment. So then we walked into the recovery room, which is the room that you go into and after you've had the operation. And there were maybe, I think there were 2 women and a guy sat waiting for me, and that was so daunting. I hate walking in rooms anyway, and I walked in dressed like I was. And they were like, hi, good morning, or good afternoon. I was like, hi. I felt so on the spot. And then they basically said, right, we need to undo your gown and get you on the table. So I was like, brilliant, that's straight in there. It was more of like a bed, it wasn't the table. So there was the anaesthetist, the anaesthetist assistant, and then 2 other women who I don't know if they were nurses, scrub nurses, other assistants, but they were there as well. I had a lady on this side holding my hand, and the anaesthetist assistant, which I think was called Matt, he was on this side, and he was like, if you need to hold my hand, I'm here for you, mate, I'm here every second. He was so lovely. And to be honest, I wasn't really that nervous about the general anaesthetic. I didn't really know too much about it, I didn't really want to know, so I wasn't too nervous. And then on the way up there, he was like, now if I had £1 for every time someone said to me that they didn't think that they were going to wake up, or they were worried about not waking up after general anaesthetic, I'd be a millionaire. And I was like, so he was like, don't worry about it. And I thought, well, I wasn't worried about it until you've just told me that. And then he also said to me, he'd like, in a jokey way, obviously, trying to make me feel better, he was like, you won't feel anything. The amount of stuff that we're going to be pumping you with would knock out an elephant. And I was like, do you know what operation I'm in for? Like, is that a fat joke? It obviously wasn't, but kind of, I was just trying to lift my spirits the whole day because I was clinging on to anything to be high-spirited. Anyway, so I got on the bed, and then the anaesthetist explained that they were going to put the cannula in this hand. I woke up with 2, so they obviously did the other one while I was under, but he put it in this hand, and this is the one that's most bruised because this has took the most beating, I suppose. He said that when they put the anaesthetic in, it will take about 30 seconds to kick in. They're going to put a mask over my face to help me breathe, but that's not what will send me to sleep. And the anaesthetic, it might hurt my arm for a little bit at first, but obviously I'm going to be asleep, so I'm not going to feel it for very long. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So I laid down, I just closed my eyes. I didn't want to see anything that they were doing. When they put the cannula in, it was just like a scratch. It didn't really hurt. That was the bit that I was most worried about. And it was just, I think compared to what I knew was coming, I wasn't really too bothered, and I had to have it done. So it was just, you just grin and bear it. And then I didn't really feel much discomfort when they started putting the anaesthetic in. I definitely felt it, but it wasn't painful or anything like that. And then I literally looked up to the ceiling and I thought, I kind of feel like this is working now. And then I was asleep, I presume, or under, or whatever it is they call it. And then I woke up, that was about 1:45, and then I woke up at 2:20. So they say that the surgery is going to be between an hour and an hour and 15. And mine took an hour and 15, no, they say the surgery is between an hour and a half, and I think mine took like an hour and 15, and then I'd been waking up, or maybe even an hour, and I'd been waking up for half an hour. They said that I came round quicker than they expected me to, but it was fine. And I felt drunk when I woke up. That's the only way I can describe it. I know some of you will probably have had general anaesthetic before. I hadn't, and some of you won't have. I feel like I'm talking really fast, but I just want to say everything that I want to say. So yeah, I didn't feel anything. I woke up and I just felt like my stomach had stones in it. Like, it just felt so heavy. And I think that was the gas, because they pump you full of gas before the surgery. They make 5 little incisions, put a camera in one of them. It's all done keyhole. So they pump you full of gas to make it easier for them to shift things around and stuff. It's a little bit gross. So I think that's what that discomfort was at first. And then the worst bit for me was when they wheeled me back to my room, because I'm not sure whether they still do that when you're asleep, and that's why they said, oh, you've woken up before we expected you to, because the guy was still going to get my hospital bed when I woke up. And I woke up, and then they put me on this bed, which was fine, and then they wheeled me back to my room, and it was like being in a taxi ride home when you're absolutely hammered, like gone completely. And I just kept remember like opening my eyes and seeing people, and they were going so fast, because obviously I'm on wheels, but they obviously wanted me to get back to my room as soon as possible. Honestly, I don't know how I made it through that journey. That was painful. So anyway, then I got back in my room and I zonked out completely for 2 hours. And then when I woke up, I thought I was pretty with it, but from comments from Tom, my dad and Emma that came to visit me, I wasn't all that with it at all. I didn't look very healthy. I was completely white. I was very dehydrated. I had fluids going in both of the cannulas on my hands, as well as paracetamol. They gave me some codeine, and they gave me that when my dad and Emma and Tom were there. And they said, do you feel okay to get changed into your pyjamas so you're not in this gown? I was like, yeah, completely. So they had to help me get changed to my pyjamas because I just couldn't move. It was kind of like, it feels like really tight. It's obvious that you've had surgery on your stomach, as you'd expect, and it felt really, really heavy. So they helped me get into my pyjamas, and then they gave me this codeine, which is like a stronger version of cocodamol, which I've had before and has made me sick, and I don't know why I didn't think to tell them. And then that's when I started feeling poorly. So there are obviously side effects from this surgery. I don't know if you've seen my last video, but basically the surgery meant that they've taken away 85% of my stomach and left what looks like a little sleeve inside me as my stomach. So my stomach is a lot smaller now, and with that they took out the main hunger hormone, which I think is called ghrelin or ghrelin, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. So anyway, I had this codeine and I started feeling sick, like really, really dizzy and nauseous, and I could, like, it was so uncomfortable, and I started getting really hot, and I knew that I was going to be sick. When I started thinking I was going to be sick, obviously you retch from your stomach, and that was so painful, and coughing as well was the same. That was what hurt the most, because I was using my stomach muscles to try and be sick, and it was so painful it was nearly making me cry. So if I can give advice to any of you that have this surgery, is make sure you know what medications you can and can't take and what is going to make you ill. Obviously some people get nausea as a side effect anyway, and you can't prevent that, but mine was completely down to the codeine, because after a couple of hours later I'd been in bed and I rang the alarm, and I said to the nurse, I think I'm going to be sick. I couldn't get out of bed myself. I needed help getting out of bed every time, because I was connected up to the blood pressure machine that was taking my blood pressure every hour so that they could monitor me basically, and that was every hour through the night. And that wasn't just me, I think they do that with every gastric sleeve patient or bypass or band, whatever you have, just to monitor you. So expect that if you're having the surgery when you go in. It was fine because I didn't really sleep much that night anyway, so it wasn't waking me up or annoying me in any way. I was just out of it in my own little world, really. So I knew I wanted to be sick, but I didn't have anything to be sick in, so she had to bring me like a bedpan. And then I started retching again, and it hurt so much, and at this point I didn't cry, but I really could have. And then I started bringing up blood, which apparently Tom had heard that can happen because of the new tissue and stuff that's there. I don't know, I don't really understand it. But I wasn't aware, or if I was aware, I didn't realise when I was out of it, still really under the anaesthetic, and like coming out of it, and it's petrified me because I've never brought up blood before, and I know it's never a good sign, and it absolutely petrified me. But the nurse stayed with me, she monitored me. She just said I need to keep my fluids up, and hopefully that was the codeine like flushing out. I was sick another couple of times afterwards. It wasn't very pleasant. That was the worst part of me, was the sickness, definitely. And aside from that, the only other complication that I had that day was that I couldn't go for a wee. So I had obviously been on a drip fluid, and I was taking little sips of water through a straw. And it got to a point, I tried to go to the bathroom a couple of times, but I had to keep asking the nurses, as I said, to help me get out of bed. So that they were helping me get out of bed, waiting for me, and then taking me back to bed. And you might all know by now, I get such bad stage fright when it comes to going to the toilet. If there's a noise, if someone walks past, if I know someone's outside, I can't go. I can't go in public places. I just can't relax, can't go for a wee. So it was impossible for that reason. But then apparently you can struggle after surgery as well, because your body's been through an upheaval and everything's moved around. So I couldn't go for a wee. I tried like 4 times, and it got to about 10:30 at night, and I was in so much pain. I had back pain, like lower back pain, as if, like, you know, when you normally are bursting to go to the toilet. And I was at this point, I'd rung the alarm, and I was writhing around in my bed. Like I was literally, legs were going, my arms were going, I felt so uncomfortable, I couldn't do anything to relieve it. And I was just literally led there saying, please somebody hurry, please somebody, please come, please hurry, because I was desperate and I didn't know what to do. And the nurse came and she said, I might have to catheterize you. And at first I was like, God no, like that, I don't want that to happen. But at this stage, because she'd said that before, at this stage, I wasn't bothered what she did. I was in so much pain. So she went and spoke to the doctor, and apparently the doctor said because of my age, he didn't really want me to be catheterized. So she instead did like an in and out catheter, which is a temporary one where it basically relieves you of what you need to do, and then the catheter's removed. She just holds it where it needs to be. So I've never really had anybody apart from Thomas look at my intimate bits for a long time, since I was in like nappies. So I'm lucky enough that I've not had anything medical done before. Haven't been brave enough to go for my smear test, which now I am completely brave enough for, and I'm going to book. So that was an interesting experience, and I don't know if this is TMI, but it wasn't all that green down there. I usually quite like to keep myself trim and in good shape down there, shall we say, but before surgery I didn't have time, one thing after the other, and I kind of naively thought that no one would be going down there anyway. And I was also on my period, so it's not pleasant to have to sort it out when that's happening, and I just presumed that no one would need to go down there. So when she did, I just led there more embarrassed than anything. It wasn't like ridiculous, but it wasn't how I would want it to be if I'm going to be showing it to someone else for the first time that's not Tom. So anyway, that was that. I weed 1,000 millilitres of urine. Every time she thought I was going to stop, it just kept on going, and there was no wonder that I was in discomfort, because there was a lot of wee that needed to come out. So when that had gone and the sickness had passed, I managed to get some sleep. I think like 10 minutes at a time. One of the nurses who I made really good friends with in there said to me that every time she came in during the night, I was awake. It's just very uncomfortable. I never sleep on my back. I'm always turning over and stuff, and I obviously couldn't do that. I was in a foreign place, I was coming out of the general anaesthetic, so I think you're bound to feel a little bit out of sorts that first night if you are having the surgery. Expect that. The next day I felt on top of the world. I was on social media, I was posting on Facebook. I think I was still on a lot of painkillers, I still had the cannulas in, and for those of you that don't know, because I wasn't aware, the cannula is the like needle that they put in your arm that's connected to a tube that's connected to a drip or a fluid or something like that. So yeah, I was still connected to the blood pressure machine, and then my blood pressure had been, I think it got down to 98, but then it was kind of like averaging at 115, so they were quite happy with that, how that was progressing. When they let me go on the Friday, it was at 128 over a healthy number. So that Thursday was quite an easy day for me really. I just sat around watching YouTube videos, reading magazines. Tom and Emma and my dad came again at about 3 o'clock, and Tom didn't leave till like 9 that night, and it was an alright day. I felt a bit exhausted and I was in like a little bit of pain, but nothing ridiculous. It was manageable, it was completely fine. The next day it was sore. I think because I was still on so many painkillers and medication and still kind of under the general anaesthetic on the Thursday, it completely deceives you, makes you think that like, oh, this isn't as bad as you think. And obviously because I'd had such a horrible night the night before, I was exhausted, and I was fine the Thursday, but the Friday, which was when they were supposed to be letting me home, when they did let me home, I felt rotten, and my dad was coming to pick me up, and I had to walk from my room to the car, and it was honestly like the longest walk. It wasn't very far, but it was the longest walk of my life. That's what it felt like. Okay, so if the lighting's changed or my makeup looks different, it's because I've just had to stop filming a couple of hours ago when I filmed whatever you've seen before this, and we went round to my granddad's for tea. Like my mum, my sisters and my granddad, we did it as kind of like a work Christmas do, but with granddad. So that was really nice. They all had takeaway and I had my pureed mash and beans. So anyway, more on that in a minute. I think I was just talking about how they took me off the drip paracetamol on the Thursday, and from then I was taking my own meds. I was off the drip completely. My medication consists of, I'll just quickly run through it, dissolvable paracetamol, which tastes foul, but I've kind of got used to them now. Codeine, which I can't take because it makes me sick. A tablet that I have to dissolve in my mouth, which doesn't taste that great, but it doesn't last for long. And then I have to, every morning and night, have Adcal, which is a calcium, vitamin and vitamin D. It's calcium and vitamin D, and that goes into water as well, and that tastes like cloudy lemonade. That really isn't that bad to drink. And then I also have to take an A to Z vitamin, and the one they prescribed tasted awful. It was harder to drink than the paracetamol, and I've since been told that I can have chewable vitamins, so I'm taking 2 of those a day now as well, which is a lot easier than drinking the dissolvable one. And then one thing that they didn't tell me about until I was going home, that really surprised me, she walked in with like my bag full of medicine to discharge me and stuff, and loads of forms, and she said, right, I'm going to run through how you give yourself the injection. And I was like, what injection? Sorry. And when she told me, I honestly could have started crying. And I can't give it myself, Tom has to give it me. It basically goes in my stomach, hits a little bit if he doesn't quite get the angle right, but it's the feeling afterwards. Did you ever have like the TB shot and stuff when you're at school? It's that feeling of the fluid going in you that really is horrible, but it lasts for like 2 minutes tops, and then it's fine. There is a little bit of bruising here and there, but I think that's just natural, that can happen. I've got to have those for 21 days, and that's basically to stop blood clots. So the medication has gone down gradually, really, from what I feel like I was on. I think it's because I'm not having to drink that other fluid, the vitamin, so it feels like a lot less. So that Friday I got home and slept for a couple of hours, and I felt really, really, really like uncomfortable and sore, and it's hard to sleep. Tom slept in the spare room for a few days, just so that he didn't like roll into me or nudge me or anything. It's been really hard to sit up on my own and also lie down on my own. You don't realise how much you actually use your stomach muscles. Like to sit on the toilet, I have to bend my legs first and squat, and then in the hospital I had to use the rail to help me get up, and here I had to use like the windowsill to help me get up. Now it's easier. I can kind of, like if I was to get up now and show you what it feels like, bearing in mind we're at the end of the day and I've not had paracetamol since like 4 o'clock, I'll push myself up off the chair and I'll just slowly bring myself up, because all of the pain is around my stomach here. It just feels very heavy, and then I do the same to go down. I mean, I probably could get up quicker, but just to be safe and so that it doesn't hurt as much as it could, I'd go as slow as I can. So that's that. When I was in hospital, they make you walk around as much as possible because of the gas situation, and honestly, if you have this, when you manage to pass wind or you burp, I know this is so gross, it's the best feeling ever, because it just gets rid of that real uncomfortableness. I think that's actually hurt more. It's not hurt, the whole thing hasn't really been painful, it's just been uncomfortable. It's more the gas that's been the most uncomfortable part, and whenever I've felt sick or too full or uncomfortable, I've gone for a little walk. So at first it was just a few steps around the hospital, I keep calling it a hotel room, the hospital bedroom, and then it went to the ward, the corridor, and like at home it was just round in a circle a little bit, and then it's gradually got to like walking up and down the stairs and walking around downstairs for a good 5 minutes. And they say to you that the more you move, the easier it is, and honestly it is so true. It really is. It does make a massive difference to how you feel, and that's what I'd say, that if you feel uncomfortable, it's most likely to be the gas, and just get up and have a walk, and it does help it. The Adcal that I have to take, that calcium tablet, is a little bit fizzy when it's first made, and you have to drink it straight away, and that kind of helps a little bit because it kind of helps you burp a little bit. I know it's so gross, but it's a little bit TMI, isn't it? But we all burp. So that's that. And then on the Saturday to, so day 3 to day 6 post-op were the most difficult for me. Day 3 I was in so much pain, and I think it's because I was at home, so you feel a little bit unsure because it's the first time I'd woken up at home and I've got to do everything myself. I've got to make my own food and get my own medicine and stuff like that, and you don't have the security of knowing that the nurses are literally outside your door. But also I think the general anaesthetic had worn off quite a lot, and it just really hurt. I was very sore. I felt like a 90-year-old woman. I couldn't walk very far, and it was just a really, day 3 was probably the hardest day, and it was in no way like painful enough to make me cry or anything like that. It's just sore, and so you've just got to take it easy, and that's what I did. I had my little walks when I could, made sure I took my paracetamol and that I was eating and drinking enough, but not too much eating, and yeah, I think that's the main key. And then the last 2 days I've just felt exhausted, like really tired, had very little energy. Like I was cutting a piece of wrapping paper yesterday, and just doing that my arm was aching. I think obviously it's because I've not used a lot of my muscles for like a week because I've been resting, so gradually using them more and more is going to hurt a little bit here and there, but it's more low energy levels, and I think that's because I'm eating so little. I think it all kind of is full circle, but they say by day 7 it should be pretty much okay, and today I felt the best that I've felt all week, and like I've been out to my granddad's today, and like I said, I did my hair and makeup just to make me feel a little better. Looks a little bit crazy now, but yeah, just to make me feel a little bit better, and that definitely worked. Showering, I didn't shower for the first day, and then Tom showered me. It's just sore, and I was petrified to get my wounds wet, but they were fine. And yeah, I've lost in the pre-op diet, I lost 5 pounds, and then since last Wednesday when I had the operation to now, I've lost another 6 pounds, so I'm 11 pounds down so far, which has been a massive boost. I've tried not to weigh myself like every day. I'm going to do it weekly, so that's a massive boost, because I'm hoping that by New Year I might be able to say that I've lost a stone, and I'm already feeling like my clothes are fitting me a bit better, even though like this is the first thing I've put on today and it's still a hoodie, but it's just a nice feeling to know that, because when I was in hospital, this is going to be a really long chatty rambly video, I'm sorry, but when I was in hospital the Thursday night, I was getting a little bit upset. I was on my own, I think I mentioned it in my vlog. I was kind of sat there thinking, I really hope this works, like I really hope this is worth it. And a couple of days at home, like a couple of days ago, I was feeling the same, and I was saying to Tom, like I've been quite emotional the last couple of days, because I've been just a little bit fed up, because obviously Tom's having to do 2 people's housework and jobs and stuff. We're trying to get the house sorted, and like he's been doing painting and stuff today. The house is tidy and clean because I did all that before surgery, but like if I see something, I can't just move it, because like I can't pick stuff up that's heavy. I can't bend down to load the dishwasher. I've just managed to squat low enough to pick the dog's balls off the floor so I can feed them, but the continuous motion of picking pots up and putting them in the dishwasher I can't do. It's just that things like that, so that's been frustrating as well, because I've been kind of snapping at Tom, like I always do the washing and he's having to do it, and he left bed sheets in overnight, so now they smell, and I said, you know, you should have put them in a tumble dry, and it's just like the menial stuff like that. But it's fine, he's been a trooper, and he's been making me my food. So tonight, during the day, what I've been eating, because for a month I'm on pureed food, so, or like really like a liquidy kind of texture. So in the morning I'll have half a Weetabix with milk, and I can have ready break, but I've not had that yet, I've just had the Weetabix. And then as snacks I can have like pureed fruit, tinned fruit that comes in juice, not syrup. So they recommend to have that with like some yogurt for breakfast. I can have those little low-fat custard pots, the Ambrosia ones, or whichever, I'm sure other brands do them. The little low-calorie jelly pots, and also Muller light yogurts or low-fat yogurts. But I'm obviously only eating like a couple of teaspoons a time, so they recommend the portion sizes for the snacks like 2 to 3 teaspoons, and for meals I've been having about 4 teaspoons, which is kind of like the norm for at this stage for like a week in. I think sometimes it'll be less, but mostly that's how much I can eat. For lunch, Tom made me a soup, a chicken and vegetable soup, which was really, really tasty. So I've been having that for a few days because obviously it takes me a while to get through a big portion. And then today I've had mashed potato with pureed beans, which tastes heavenly. So yeah, at the moment I have no cravings to eat sweet food, which is good because I can't eat them anyway. I'm pretty sure I could melt a Freddo, but I'm not going to. So that's that. And I can have things like low calorie hot chocolate. They recommend to put like a powdered milk into your milk so that you're getting more protein, because it's all about the protein. So like if I have a meal, I can have chicken blended with gravy and then a little bit of veg and a little bit of potato, like a teaspoonful of each, or a couple of teaspoons of the chicken. And you have to kind of like let go of everything that you used to. So rather than mixing it up a little bit and having it together, I have to eat the chicken portion first because that's the most important. I need the protein. Then if I'm still hungry, I can have the veg, and then if I'm still hungry, I can have the carbs. So it's in that order. And then also with drinking, I can drink either half an hour before a meal or half an hour after. And that's been quite hard to adjust to because I'm really having to plan when I'm eating. So I'll drink and then I'll stop for half an hour and then I'll be like, but now I can have my food. And then I always forget to carry on drinking afterwards, so I'm not drinking as much as I should be, which I need to start doing more. And so that's the food bit. And then after this month, on the 16th of January, I can go on to mashable foods. So that's like cottage pie, spaghetti bolognese, anything you can mash down with a fork. So jacket potato without the skin, but with like tuna and beans. I always have mine with tuna, mayonnaise and beans, which some people always question and think it's really weird. Scylla, my stepmom, Scylla, my mother-in-law, got me into it, and it's honestly like the best meal ever. So I'm so excited to have that. And yeah, I've not really found the eating thing difficult because I'm not really hungry. I've been eating because I know that I need the protein, so I've been having my meals when I should be, just 3 a day. And when I wake up in the morning, I feel a bit lightheaded, so when I have my Weetabix, I find that helps. But throughout the day, I'm not really craving food, and I know when I get full and my stomach just feels heavy, full, like I know I don't want to eat anymore, so I stop. And they say that when you feel like you need to stop, you must stop, because obviously then I'm going to get more benefits from having the surgery. So I think that's everything I wanted to cover. I've got to have my, they call them clips, but they're like staples, taken out on Friday, which I'm a little bit nervous for because I don't know if it's going to hurt or not, and it's going to feel gross. But then that's it. In 6 weeks I've got a post-op checkup with my surgeon, and he just basically takes a look at my wounds and makes sure that everything's healing properly and that I'm fine. And then I also have an appointment with the nutritionist to make sure that I'm eating everything I should be, and that I think they take my bloods and make sure that all my levels are where they should be and stuff like that. So that's it really. And then after, so on the 16th of January I can start on the mashable foods, and then a month after that I'm basically on normal solid foods again, but it's just healthy stuff. So it's just like a normal sensible diet. You know, if I want to have a chocolate bar at the weekend or a slice of pizza, I can do. I'll be eating a lot less than I would have done, but it's about that balance of making sure that I'm having chicken and veg during the week and doing the exercise and everything combining together. I know it's already only been a week, but I feel like this has really been a good decision so far. It's been tough, I'm not gonna lie, like mentally and physically, because although I've had so much support from you guys, the most, my family, it's essentially happened to my body, and I feel like I've gone through it on my own because I'm the one that's had the surgery. I know what it feels like and what I can cope with and what I can do and stuff, and it's gotten a lot easier the last couple of days. And I'm just really excited for it to keep coming off, and I've already been looking at sewing costumes for next year because I feel like I'm going to be able to get in them better. But yeah, I think this is it. Now let me know if you want me to do a Q&A, because I don't really want to do another like talk through video because I think I've said pretty much everything that I could say. But if any of you have questions on anything that I've not covered, or you want me to go into more detail, Let me know if you want me to do a Q&A, and if you do, leave me the comment in the comment section and I'll put them all together and I'll film a little Q&A for you all, because I know there'll be some questions that someone asked me something on Snapchat before, and there'll be some questions that I won't answer, and that there's something probably that I've missed. I know some people make bullet points, but I just feel like I'm talking to my friends, so I just like to sit here and waffle on, which I'm sure you've realised and noticed. But yeah, I think I've covered everything. I will keep posting little updates on Twitter and stuff. I don't want to harp on about it too much because I don't want to annoy anyone. But yeah, I think that's it for now. So leave me a comment or a question if you've got anything you want to say, and I will see you all very soon in my next video. The next one I think is going to be my Christmas Day makeup, so the makeup that I am going to wear for Christmas Day. So that will be up on Friday, and then I'll have another one up on Christmas Eve, and then a little break until I do my what I got for Christmas video, which will see us into the new year, which is very scary. So that's everything. I'm planning to vlog, but it might not be till New Year now. Just thinking about everything that I've got to do, and I'm just going to be at home moping around wrapping Christmas presents, which isn't all that exciting. So yeah, I'm going to go before I waffle on anymore. I hope you're all very excited for Christmas, that you enjoyed this video and it's a little bit informative, and I will see you all very soon. Thank you so much for watching and for all your messages and support. Gradually I am getting back to you all, but sometimes I get so overwhelmed by how lovely you all are that it just takes me a little while to get back to you. But do keep leaving me comments, because I read every single one of them and I will reply. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. Bye.